the statement came up, why is this still so hard? And she was a very successful client, multi seven-figure client. And she wondered, why was this so hard? And I asked the question, and the question is, who said it should be easy? Everyone wants to work with and for someone they enjoy being around. When I think about leading a life of significance, I don't think about money. I think about all the people that can be changed by the impact that I've made in their lives. Hey guys, welcome to the Guts and Glory Show. My name is Luis and I am your host. Thank you for joining me. I am so glad that you are here. And today I'm going to be talking about something that a lot of entrepreneurs face, and this idea of hard. You know, so many times we go into entrepreneurship and we see all the things on social media. We see how great it is to be an entrepreneur. We see how much flexibility we have when we're an entrepreneur. We see the fancy cars, the nice homes, the great vacations, but we never truly understand the burden of entrepreneurship. And it is a burden. It is a burden. This is not for the lighthearted. Entrepreneurship is really all about giving everything you have to something that, frankly, is not guaranteed to succeed. And it's one of the hardest endeavors that you will ever have to engage in. But this topic came up because I was recently talking to one of my coaching clients, and the statement came up, why is this still so hard? And she was a very successful client, multi seven-figure client. And she wondered, why was this so hard? And I asked the question because I think it's a question that a lot of people need to ask themselves when they're in entrepreneurship, whether they're selling a service or a product. And the question is, who said it should be easy? Who said it should be easy? Who said it should be easy to be a seven-figure business owner? Who said it should be easy to be a multi-seven-figure business owner? Who said it should be easy to be an eight-figure business owner? Who said that? Like who sold that dream? Who told you that was the resting place of a successful business owner? Now, don't get me wrong. Everybody wants a little bit of peace in their life, or a lot of peace in their life. And I think you can reach that peace. And I think you can reach that level of satisfaction. Recently, I was listening to a podcast and it said that the pursuit of our burden is what creates the greatest level of positivity in our life. And the achievement of that burden, or the goal, achieving that goal, simply brings satisfaction. But satisfaction is a temporary expression or emotion. And so satisfaction cannot be the only thing that we're pursuing. If you were to retire at 30 years old or 40 years old and have no professional endeavors where you were actually creating some sort of value to the world, it would seem like you would actually become very bored, and you wouldn't really be fulfilled in your life. I am not of the belief that low low relational engagement is the key to true fulfillment in life. I believe it's the highest level relationally engaged people that find true fulfillment. And so I ask you the question, who said it should be easy? Who said that things shouldn't be hard? And I really believe that we've been created for a burden. There was a burden that was instilled in us at birth, and that burden has to be activated. It has to be pursued. And for many of us, that burden is troublesome. That burden is vexing. That burden is difficult. That burden is overwhelming. But we've been chosen to carry that burden. It's actually a privilege and a responsibility to carry that burden. And so ask yourself the question, who said it should be easy? And so if we've been created for a burden, then I believe that the way that we activate the greatness and the fullness of our life is acting in pursuit of that burden, acting in a way that is consistent with achieving something of high value, something that really fulfills you in life. I remember when I was simply looking for money, and this was probably in my 20s. If you're in your 20s, you probably can relate to this, but I spent a lot of time in my 20s really just chasing money. I didn't really care about my passion. I didn't care about my skill set. I was just looking for money. How do I make money? How do I start a business and make money? This is the reason I had 8 failed businesses, because I was never really, it wasn't a burden of mine. You know, starting the online newspaper, that was a joke. I don't know anything about being a journalist, and starting an online newspaper was an absolute joke because I didn't have a burden for that. That wasn't going to make any money. I started an online auction site, and I sold vitamins. I tried to sell it online. through several different partnerships. I started multiple businesses that failed, but they failed because that was not my burden. And so success comes when we are working in our passion and in our skills and in our burden. And so when I finally found the burden that I had, which was the burden to teach, the burden to encourage, the burden to coach, the burden to work with people one-on-one and collectively, that's when I began to become alive and to try and to thrive. And I don't want you to believe that it's been easy. I don't want you to believe that it hasn't been overwhelming. I don't want you to believe that at one time I was not thinking about hanging it up, or that I didn't feel burned out, because I did. Especially when you take on a lot of responsibility, when you realize this is your burden, your passion, and you want to help people and you want to engage in helping people more and more and more. It's easy to get caught up in this sense of taking on too much. And so it became very overwhelming for me. But what I realized is that in the midst of that overwhelm, and I changed my perspective, but in the midst of my overwhelm, my perspective was I am in the pursuit of the greatest positive that I can in my life. And the highest level aim that I can aim at is going to generate the highest level of positivity in my life. And so I knew that if I stayed focused in my burden and what I was created for, I was eventually going to reach that satisfaction that I wanted in my life. But who said it was going to be easy? And I think that that's the question you have to ask yourself today, is who said it was going to be easy? Because no one said that this is easy. This is actually the hardest thing you'll ever do in life, which is to create a company out of nothing. But I do want to give you 3 tips, 3 things that I think that can help you as you start pursuing your burden, as you start analyzing the things that you were created for and committing to these things. The first thing is to enjoy the process. And I know this sounds really easy to do, or easy to say, I should say, but hard to do. But it reminds me of a story that my dad told me when I was younger. I was in my 20s. I was really upset about the fact that I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere in my baseball career. And I wanted to be a pro baseball player. I mean, who doesn't want to be the next Ken Griffey Jr., at least as a kid who loves baseball? But I kept getting injured and I didn't get the opportunities that I thought that I deserved. And I remember him coming to me one time and saying, smell the grass, enjoy that grass, because you never know when it'll be your last game. And the fact of the matter is, I look back, I don't even remember my last game. I don't remember the last time I got to play the game, competitively. The last time I stepped in the box and got to face off of a pitcher. I don't remember that moment because I was not enjoying the smell of the grass. I wasn't enjoying the process of maturing, the process of developing myself to overcome some of the greatest difficulties in life. I just was not enjoying the process. So the first thing is to enjoy the process. The second thing is to accept your burden. If this is your passion and this is your calling, accept it. Don't treat it like a job. Don't treat it like it's just anybody can do this. You've been called for something great. You've been called for something special. Accept that burden. Pick up your responsibility and move forward and create positivity in your life, even when it's hard, even when it feels burdensome, even when you're overwhelmed, even when people don't believe in you, even when people give up on you. Accept that burden anyway. I've had so many people who don't believe in my abilities, my coaching abilities, my consulting abilities. They don't believe in my professional capabilities. And I talk about being fired in the past from my previous partnership. And the fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter what people say. It's what you say about you that matters. So accept your burden and pick up your responsibility. And the last thing is the word that I picked for the year. So in 2023, I picked this word. It's called perspective. Develop a new perspective. Anytime you find yourself asking yourself, why am I doing this? Why is it so hard? Develop a new perspective. It reminds me the other day, I was talking to somebody, and it's a friend of mine. He's from California. And I was complaining that it was taking a while for my car to get fixed. I was like, man, it's taking so long for my car to get fixed. And he reminded me, he said, but isn't it nice to have a Lamborghini? And I said, you know what? You always want to put that positive perspective on it. So I was complaining about how long it was taking to get my Lamborghini fixed, but isn't it nice to have a Lamborghini? And so having a new perspective, like sometimes even we can get lost, even at the height or the pinnacle of our success, having money in the bank or having things and toys and cars and homes, we can get lost in this idea of the hard. We can get lost in the idea of what we call the first world problems. And what I want to encourage you today is to develop a new perspective. And no matter how things are going in your life, there are opportunities for you to look at the bright side. There are opportunities for you to improve your perspective as it relates to your business and it relates to your burden. So you've been created for a burden, and the pursuit of that burden is going to bring positivity. And you've been created to do this because it's going to make an impact in the lives of other people. So enjoy the process, accept the burden, develop a new perspective. And I think if you do that, you're no longer going to ask the question, why is this so hard? And I hope that this brings light to your community and to the people you serve with your business. Thank you guys for joining us on the Guts and Glory Show.